Welcome to the Legit Day Job Podcast. I am your host, Cody.
Oh,
and joining me is Sean.
I'm Sean. I also work here. I'm a friend of Cody's. And Kay.
Hi, I am Kay, and
okay.
I work with Cody and Sean.
And this is our legit day job.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
This is what we do for a living.
Yeah.
Cody, you want to maybe have us introduce ourselves a little bit?
Yeah. This is our legit day job, where we work in an office. It's pretty legit.
Mm-hmm.
We get to make video projects and movies, and we're gonna talk about movies here on this podcast.
Yes, we are.
Possibly some of our movies in the future.
No,
or,
hopefully.
or projects.
I mean, that is what we do. Cody is a, he didn't mention, but he and I are technically media specialists at this job. That's what we get paid to do. We both enjoy film, every aspect of it. And Kay here is a similar background. Kay?
I'm also a part of the media team. I didn't study film, but I studied the graphical side and website side of, social media and all that.
Yeah, so your job is kind of split here, right? You do like media and marketing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then I help you guys with podcasts and film.
And everything, really.
And she does a great job at it.
Yeah.
Let's add. She's vital to our team.
All three of us are.
I was gonna say me and Cody not so much, but
No, you guys are very important. You guys are the voice and the faces of.
Yes, we act a lot more than. Hence the podcast.
Yeah. And the reason for that is because it's just us three.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're very understaffed. We make minimum in the area that we're at, and
yeah.
So
we're all crucial.
If there's any other companies that are looking, we welcome you with open arms.
What's that website? Is it Job Recruiter? Is that what it is?
Indeed or something.
There's Indeed. I think Indeed is the
LinkedIn.
one.
Is Job Recruiter a thing?
I think
it is.
I think
yeah.
It is. This episode of the Legit Day Job Podcast is brought to you by Job Recruiter.
It definitely.
Please recruit us. All right, so we're gonna be kicking this podcast off with quite a bang.
Mm-hmm.
We got a lot of ground to cover because we are preparing for the imminent release of the new Godzilla movie, Godzilla King of the Monsters. How are we preparing for that, Sean? Okay.
So this is the start of April by the time we're filming this, and we're gonna be watching every Toho produced.
Yep.
What did you call them?
Kaiju
film.
Yep. Every single one, almost every single one. We're gonna be watching every single Godzilla movie ever made,
and some related
and
films.
We're gonna be watching every single Godzilla movie ever made, as well as every single Toho Kaiju film that is relevant to the Godzilla universe in some way, shape, or form, which is a lot of movies.
Yes. So,
and because we only have like 2 months, we're going to be doing 6 a week.
Yes. And
for the next,
we're going to be watching 6 a week, talking about them in over 3 podcasts.
We're going to be doing 3 podcasts a week, each episode talking about 2 films.
You want to tell them when it's going to be released?
Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays.
Yeah, so this first one's actually starting out on a Thursday.
Correct.
Just happens to be that. But yeah, next one's going to be tomorrow on Friday, and then the next one after that is going to be
next week.
Next week, Tuesday. Yep, April. The Friday tomorrow's the 5th. Today's the 4th, and then 6th, 7th, 9th. April 9th will be the third podcast, and we'll keep going up until.
And then the Friday after that, and
the very
Tuesday
next
after
one,
that, and the Thursday after that.
I think the very
Friday
next one we do is
followed by the Tuesday.
I think the very last one we do is actually the day before King of the Monsters, or like the night of King of the Monsters.
The last episode, assuming that we follow our schedule, which is very
one
hectic.
Of us doesn't get sick or die on the schedule.
Our last episode will be on the Thursday night prior to the premiere of Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Cool. So technically
that will be the last.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah.
Of this marathon.
Yeah, and then we're probably gonna see if we can go see King of the Monsters.
Yes.
Okay.
To finish this off strong, but worst case scenario, we just
after this,
we just skip that Friday and then do a Tuesday podcast so we can all see it over the weekend or something. But
and then after this 2-month binge, we are probably going to wind down to probably 1 podcast a week after that.
Yeah.
Because this is a lot. But
yes, it is.
without further ado, let's jump into the two we watched today, shall we?
Yes, we
Yes.
did. We watched. Do
We
you want
watched-
me to introduce it, or Kay, do you want to introduce it?
You can introduce
I'll
it.
introduce it. Yeah. So the first two we watched were technically the first two movies in this entire
Technically the first movie.
series. Well, I was gonna say, yeah, technically the first movie. I'm gonna call it two because, as you pointed out before we watched them,
Yep.
the second one is kind of just. Well, I'll get into that in a minute. So the first two movies we watched were Gojira, 1954, the original Japanese version of Godzilla, and then its American remake, which came out 2 years later, titled Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Correct.
Which basically utilized the original film's footage and then intercut it with new footage from an American production and essentially made an entirely different film.
Yep. Which is why we watched counted that as two films today.
Yes.
Now I am a diehard Godzilla fan.
Yes, he is.
I literally grew up with the films, so I've seen virtually all of these. However, I don't think either of you have seen any of these.
No,
could be wrong
except
about
that
that.
one
Except that one.
made in the U.S.
Oh, yes, yes.
The 98 one?
Yes.
Okay, well, she's seen the 98 one. I haven't seen any of them. I've seen bits and pieces, like, here and there, but never actually sat down and watched the whole one.
So this is going to be quite an adventure for the two of you.
I think I saw like the tail end of the 2014 one, and then I did happen to see Kong Skull Island, which, as we get like way closer to King of the Monsters, is like one of the last movies we're gonna end up seeing because it's
Correct.
tied into it. Because I think a year after this new one, they're gonna make a Kong and Godzilla. America's gonna make a Kong and Godzilla
Correct.
mashup.
Clash.
But aside from that, no, I haven't seen any of these on our list. So
All right. So yeah, this is going to be quite the experience.
yes, it will.
It
It has been so far.
strap in because it's gonna get
I've already been strapped.
it's gonna get pretty wild. Yeah. So let's start with Gojira, shall we? The
Yes.
original 1954 classic, directed by Ishiro Honda.
Can I start by saying I thought it was a phenomenal movie.
Sure.
I am a huge film enthusiast. Obviously, this is why I have this legit day job. But yeah, I mean, it kind of reminded me a little bit of like my experience watching like Casablanca. Like, you know, it's old, so you don't think you'd be able to like relate to it that well. But like, yeah, my main notes here are like the cinematography, the music was really captivating. You know, the editing was kind of what I expected for the 50s, but it was, you know, pretty good considering. You know, you can see those like storytelling aspects, you know, still present even that far back. It's not like they're new techniques or anything, right? And the narrative was like comprehensive and moving, you know. So I thought it was overall a really good film, even though we were watching it in its native language of Japanese and with American subtitles.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't detract at all really from the film, and it was very compelling, I thought.
What did you
What do you think?
what did you think of
Well,
the
like
original?
Sean, I actually was sucked into it for a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was very surprised with it being like an old movie. I didn't think that it would be any good,
Mhm.
you know, but it was still I was still able to watch it. But I did lose interest, so I'll just go based on my notes in order.
Yeah.
But like when the Godzilla first appeared, or Gojira first appeared, I
Mhm.
kind of laughed because, you know, it was a person in a suit, but, you know, I didn't. It's an old movie, so it's okay.
Yeah.
I laughed at the miniature set and toy cars,
Oh yeah, those are
which is
fun.
okay. I give them credit.
Yeah, I mean, remember it is the 50s, so it's like
yeah.
they were very limited, you know. But
I give them credit for that.
yeah,
Um,
but creative, right? I mean, like the cutaways to like when real people are in a car with like rear projection, and then they
Yeah.
cut to the, you know.
yeah, that was pretty.
it was like,
that was pretty
you know,
smart of them. I mean,
yeah.
you just didn't like the whole
Yeah,
scene was just
working with what you got. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I feel like that's all we'd have the budget for here.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
we
know?
could definitely do something like that movie.
Oh yeah, we could.
But yeah, I lost interest after like him just stomping around. I guess because the scene was too long, and I was like, just hurry up and get to the point. And
Granted, it was like a 96-minute film. It's like an hour and a half. So you know, but I mean, you know, the opening had like a lot of like quick cuts, right? Like they were like, oh,
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
so
yeah,
like
that's right.
one boat blew up. Let's send a message to the rescue boat, and then like
The
within
instant-
2 minutes
yeah.
of film, suddenly the rescue boat's done, and then they're like, "Oh well, there's no survivor." You know, like,
That is true.
It was really
Yeah.
fast paced in the beginning, and then it kind of
Slowed down.
slowed down just for the novelty of like Godzilla's just
Slowed down a bit too
stomping all over the
much.
town.
I was able to catch the quick cuts in the beginning because I have commercials and them.
Yeah.
I can't pay attention that long, so
You have a short attention
Yeah.
span. Yeah.
but
I watched Boyhood, so I had to, I have
What
a
is
long
that?
attention span. But yeah.
favorite scene is the plane attacked because of those toys and
So
They-
ironically favorite.
yeah, not favorite, but like you said, you can see the strings,
Yeah.
everything.
They tried their best though.
and they have bad aim. They didn't shoot him. They just
yeah,
missiles flew
I
past
was-
him.
I was joking about like no missile lock, but it's
Yeah.
coming from my 2019
Uh-huh.
mind.
I thought it would at
Uh-huh.
least one land on the suit or something.
Well, but then we'd
Would
have
have been
a
a
problem.
little too danger close there.
Yeah. I
Well,
mean, they were already setting
yeah.
up a model on fire, so
I
they're like,
guess.
yeah, you need to, but,
What was
Just explode them.
what was your favorite scene, Sean?
my ironically favorite scene would have been him destroying the town, just because it was like, I mean, yeah, like Kay said, it was very obvious that like they were limited in what they could do for special effects. I will give them credit where credit is due, obviously, because they made the best of what they could, and it actually, for some things, it didn't turn out half bad. Like I mentioned when we were watching, I couldn't tell where the matte lines were. For those of you who don't know, matte lines are like in film where they cut one layer of footage with a totally different layer of footage. If say you have people in like the foreground, the front of the screen, and then like behind them, you're supposed to have like a devastated city, and obviously you can't just destroy a city like that, so that you make like a model, and so you superimpose them on top of each other, and that line where they cut the film is called the matte line. So normally it's noticeable. Granted, it was black and white, so it might not be as and it was like at night too, so
Oh,
it
yeah,
wouldn't
it
be
was-
as
it was
noticeable.
pretty dark.
But
Mhm.
but even still, I couldn't really tell where those matte lines were, so I got to say that was pretty impressive. But yeah, I mean, that's my ironically favorite. My actual favorite, I think, would have been the aftermath scene, where they're showing us, where their soundtrack that I've already praised is like, it's like the emotional little tune
After
that
the
they've made.
destruction.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they're showing us all the mangled bodies, and then they have the choir singing. I thought that was actually pretty moving, so I give them props for that. And what about you, Cody? What was your? I
Yeah,
mean, you've seen them all pretty much,
Yeah,
so
Yeah.
This is what, like your second time, third time, fourth time?
it's probably his 20th.
Yeah, we'll go with second or third time.
He's like, I don't know if I can say that. I was gonna say, I don't think I can say that. He could probably extract it from my boost audio. You don't have a favorite?
I don't know. I can't pick a.
Oh, you too many?
Yeah, I just love the film.
Well, are they ironically favorites or like actual favorites?
Actual favorites.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like my non-ironic favorite Star Wars moment is Order 66. I'm not kidding.
It's your non-ironic moment, huh?
No, that's my non-ironic. Yeah. No, my ironic moment is Yoda. Like everything with Yoda, but in the original trilogy. But yeah, non-ironic would be Order 66.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah. So you love the movie altogether?
Start to finish. I don't know if I could just pick one scene out
Which one though? Gojira?
of the
One with-
original. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know we're talking about Gojira, but I wasn't sure if you were talking the American one.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. No, just the original. I don't know if I could pick just one scene. Whole thing start to finish. Probably my favorite scene.
Yeah.
My ironic favorite scene is probably the start to finish of King of the Monsters, but we'll get to that.
Which is the American
Yeah.
version, yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna take a quick intermission, and we're back. Sorry, Sean had to step out for a quick minute.
We don't get food here, so I
yeah,
had to order
we-
food.
We're starving.
So please sponsor us some.
Yeah, we
food.
need money.
Well, what is it? This episode of the Legit Day Job podcast is also brought to you by BlueRibbon.com. Send us food.
What is Blue Ribbon?
Blue Ribbon? Let me tell you about Blue Ribbon. since they're our sponsor for the episode. Blue Ribbon
No,
is a monthly subscription service where they send you fresh ingredients. I don't know how often. Once a day, once a week, once a month. I don't know. But they send you fresh ingredients to make food.
He obviously doesn't have the
Delicious food.
The only thing I see with that is we don't have a kitchen.
Yeah.
Delicious ingredients to make delicious food. BlueApron.com,
Raw
folks.
food.
Thank you, Blue Apron, for sponsoring us.
Now,
Please sponsor us.
Yeah.
Anyway, Gojira. Yeah, I don't have much else that I can say about the film just because I've seen it so many times.
You just praise it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot anyone honestly can say at this point about the film that hasn't already been said.
Yeah,
which is why I've just been kind of quiet on this segment because I'm more interested in what you guys think of it. But
yeah, it was a really, really good film. I would say.
From the notes that I took, just from what I noticed watching it again, though, I think we all kind of hit the same general things. The music's fantastic, as most of them
the
are.
music's pretty good for.
I do got to say, one thing I didn't mention was I noticed like the social commentary was very like, because I know you mentioned this to us before we watched it, but it's a social commentary about like it was like made in response to the bombings at Hiroshima and Nagasaki and kind of the dangers of nuclear weapons. And it was very obvious, it was obvious once you pointed it out before we watched it. Had you not brought it up before we watched it, and I watched it, I would have understood it was some sort of social commentary, but I wouldn't have understood exactly what. But like,
which is why I brought it up before.
Yeah, exactly. So now that I see it, I noticed it was very well executed, and it was like,
it wasn't too on the nose, while at the same time getting the point across very clearly.
Yeah, but it was really, they had like analogies left and right for especially looking at like a devastated Tokyo, and everything was just kind of
which actually reminds me, because I was gonna point it out when we watched the movie. You mentioned something, but I decided not to, so I could point it out here, so I could point it out publicly on the Legit Day Job podcast.
Oh crap!
It's nothing. It's nothing. It's just at the end, you were saying like the last line of dialogue of the film is something to the tune of we must not continue using nuclear weapons, otherwise another Godzilla may appear.
Yes.
And you were like, sequel bait.
Yes.
That was actually never the intended cause.
No, wow. I just noticed because it was so on the nose.
It's easy to assume sequel bait when there's like 36 movies in the franchise.
But at the time, obviously, it wasn't a...
Yeah, and which is with today how every movie is a sequel bait to a franchise.
Yeah.
But no, that was just meant to be just like an ominous warning.
Yeah, it's part of the social commentary.
Yeah, just a final statement like, let's not do this again.
Oh, no, I understood that too. I was joking because I was like, because okay, so if you guys haven't seen the original Godzilla movie, Gojira, go watch it. But also, I'm about to give a spoiler, so I'll give you a couple seconds to, turn off.
Give you a couple seconds to go watch.
Pause or skip ahead or something. But anyways, I think it's been long enough. So
I definitely think it's been long enough.
They can click away. Yeah. So
60 plus years.
No. Okay. So for them. So spoiler alert. At the end of the movie, they do end up killing Godzilla. So
with the oxygen destroyer.
Yeah. So they kill Godzilla. Like we straight up see it on film. It's definitive. He is dead.
Yep.
So that's why when the zoologist character was like, we need to be careful, otherwise, like
another one might appear.
Yeah, another one might appear. I was like, okay, that's definitely sequel bait, just because they killed off the main, the title character here, the monster.
And then they say,
so if they ever
another
wanted
one might
a sequel,
appear.
if they ever wanted a sequel, they're like, okay, well, here's an excuse that would give us a sequel. They do more nuclear testing. Obviously, we were just at the start of the Cold War when this came out, so like that was a big fear, mutually assured destruction. But yeah, like that, so obviously that would lead to, if they just simply said, we did more nuclear testing. Oops, another giant lizard. Like, that's why I was joking about it. But no, I understood that it was
it's ironic because it effectively is sequel bait because they made more.
Well, yeah,
they made a lot more.
I'd say that was just culture of like, we want another monster movie because it was such a hit, but not because of that. You know? It wasn't like Venom or something where they totally just baited because they're like, we want another Venom movie. Yeah. Whether or not it does well, we all know how that ended. I love Tom Hardy, but
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. There's only really one rewatching it. There's really only one nitpick I had with it, like one flaw that I could find, which is just
the cigarette burns.
Cigarette burns? What?
In
that's
old
just
film,
that's just a byproduct of it being.
No, I was kidding. No, Kay in old film, the little dots that show up and stuff, those are called cigarette burns.
Yeah,
it's an industry term. They're not
okay.
actually cigarette burns.
Like,
it's all the grain and distortion from the film reel.
Yeah, from just being played in front of a high heat lamp and everything, and 'cause that's how you ever seen it get stuck and then it like just erodes. It's because it's not spinning super fast. The film actually gets stuck, and then because the light is on it too long, it starts to just corrupt. So that's but that's why they're called cigarette burns, is because they look like you put a cigarette out on a paper or something, but it's not.
Now, to be fair, we weren't watching the best transfer of the film. I lent my copy of the best transfer of the film out. Rest in peace.
You never got it back.
I was like, you never received it.
So yeah, we did watch the original on Blu-ray, but it was one of the how do I put this? Worse transfers.
That was one of the worst?
The DVD, I don't know if you noticed, the DVD of King of the Monsters looked better than the Blu-ray.
Interesting.
Yeah. Not necessarily in terms of transfer, like raw transfer quality, but in terms of the color processing.
Yeah.
On the Blu-ray, they like the blacks are super crushed to the point where in some scenes you can barely see anything.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue, it's intended to be like that, and it is to an extent, but
no.
not.
The opening scene of The Godfather was intended to be like that.
There's a big difference between the version we watched and the Criterion release of Gojira, which I wish I had. Still, rest in peace.
If you have that copy, if Cody lent you that copy and you still have it, understand that
I will find you.
We will find you, and we will kill you.
So give it back,
and we will take back our movie,
my movie,
his movie. We're coming.
What was I saying?
We watched
the one flaw.
Yeah, the one flaw.
One flaw. Just all those awkward, harsh cuts and transitions.
Okay, yeah, but I mean,
it wasn't that bad in the beginning, but it really started getting a little more awkward and harsh.
Yeah, I would say
it went on.
That's kind of just a product of the time, because they're actually cutting and editing film.
No, yeah, I'm just saying that was.
Yeah, that's the one detractor.
That's the one thing I could find.
Yeah, otherwise it was
even the pacing. Yeah, it starts off fast and it slows down close to midway through the film.
Yeah, and then it's kind of slow the whole time, and then
there's really nothing you can cut from that film.
Yeah, no, you cut it up.
The intention is that it's that slow pace because it's all it's that build up.
Yeah, it's all the talking and exposition stuff.
You can't really
cut it up because otherwise you get Godzilla King of the Monsters. And do you want to make that a segue?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Well, anyways, that's what you get when you cut up stuff and you cut it out. And
So some other things that I appreciate still from the original Gojira is just still how effective it is.
Yeah, it is.
There are a couple scenes still that are I don't want to say necessarily disturbing, but they're pretty haunting. Such as when the mother and her like 3 children are being burned alive.
Oh yeah,
and they're just going, "Oh, don't worry, we're gonna rejoin your father soon enough."
Oh yeah, that's horrible. Or what about that scene in the aftermath where the little girls
that too
in front of her dead mother and then she starts losing. I think somebody said like your mom's gonna be okay or something to her, but
oh no, they carted the corpse away on a stretcher.
Yeah, no, it's like that was kind of rough.
Yeah, but the scene lingers on the crying child for like 30 seconds, just wailing hysterically. It's quite chilling at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen pictures of like the results of Nagasaki?
Oh yeah.
And
it
was pretty much the same vibe. I mean, obviously they weren't going to show
not
you
as
that,
not as graphic, but they get the same emotion across.
But because it wasn't as intense, like they weren't, the context wasn't an atom bomb was dropped. The context was a giant lizard came and obliterated the city. So like people were dead because they were crushed or they were burned alive, but like they weren't incinerated.
Yeah,
from nuclear, a blast.
Yeah, but before we segue over to the Americanized version. Well, I gave some fun facts about this film
Oh yes.
because I told you some things like the historical context of the film, but I
Yes.
left out some other things because I want.
Ooh,
it's
please
like,
tell.
It was made on a budget of $5, and everybody in the film was a friend of the director.
No, actually, this
Damn.
had
Everyone.
That's
That's a
how-
lot of people, man. He must know
Let's-
like
That's
what, the whole
that's
nation.
how I would do films.
let's start with that, shall we? The budget.
Mhm.
Now I checked several different sources. They all kind of gave me the same total budget, but I keep finding different numbers on how that budget's broken up because you also got to remember the currency rate
Yeah.
from 60 plus years. That's gonna variable.
Mhm.
But with that said, the total budget in US dollars
65 years.
65 years. Oh, yeah.
I just did the math. Yeah, 65 years this year. So, total budget?
Total budget in USD. Again, this is just a rough conversion estimate. About 900,000.
Wow, okay. Yeah. So transferring it to American dollars, but then in adjusting for inflation?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Roughly.
So
Roughly.
just shy of $1 million.
Yeah.
Oh no,
That's,
wait. I'm sorry.
alright.
I'm sorry. That's I was rushing these notes a bit. 900,000 for production, 600,000 for marketing.
Okay, so it's like
It had a-
1.5
it had-
mil.
Wait.
1.5 mil?
hmm.
I mean, even back then, that's still pretty. That's close to what it would have been. I mean, like Cleopatra, which I think was like in the 63 or something. I want to say that was a huge production. I
Oh.
want to say it was like
Oh.
I want to say that was like in the tens of millions of dollars, and that was like the biggest production in history at that point. Up until I think something like T2. I think Terminator 2 actually took the cake. I could
I
be
see.
wrong, but I think it did because it was like 100 million. So up until like that point, like 1991,
Mhm.
there was never anything that went
Okay.
up to 100 mil for a budget. So, I mean, now it's like
Mhm.
commonplace, but back then it was unheard of. So I think it was like in the tens of millions, like in the like close to 50 mil, I think.
I
But
see.
again, it was huge. So this being, a decade earlier, in Japanese money, obviously we're converting to American, so we
Yeah.
know what kind of currency it is. But yeah, I mean, considering what it was, I would say that's pretty
Okay. So I
understandable.
pulled up one source. I'm just gonna take it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it sounds like the total budget converted to USD with inflation was about 1.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
900,000 for the film's budget and
Mhm.
marketing costs of about 600,000.
Okay.
So
makes sense.
yeah, approximately 1.5 million.
Yeah, I mean, considering all that they had to do for that film, I mean, all the destruction and model making and costumes and everything, I feel like that would make sense to be,
It was definitely
that much money.
It was definitely a hefty budget.
yeah. I mean, yeah, even for back in the day.
Yeah, especially for a Toho film before Toho became Toho.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was still Toho, right? But it just wasn't. It didn't really have a name like
No. What I mean
itself.
is before Toho became like
big.
Famous.
before they started like doing like monster films. This was their first monster film.
Okay, yeah, but but I mean, did they like have a name for themselves or?
Yeah,
Not
they-
really.
I mean, I don't know too much about Toho's history.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure they'd done films prior to this. It's not like they were founded
Well,
just
yeah.
for this film.
But this one put them on the map pretty much, and now they've just.
I'm pretty sure. I don't want to. Don't take me for my word on that one.
Yeah, we haven't done 100% of research, so take everything we take with it, or everything we say with a grain
Yeah.
of salt.
Either way, you don't just throw down 1.5 million for any film. This one was definitely a gamble that almost flopped.
It almost flopped.
Almost flopped.
How
When
so?
it came out in Japan, people had mixed feelings about it.
Mhm.
A lot of people didn't like it.
Interesting. Why is that? Do you know?
Because of the
Well, this comes from the internet's greatest source of information, Wikipedia.
Yeah, I was gonna say Wikipedia.
This episode of the
I knew it
Legit Day Job
immediately. I'm a-
podcast is brought to you by Wikipedia.
No, we are not. No, I knew it immediately.
Go
Though. I'm like,
donate to Wikipedia. Are they still doing that
actually,
thing?
do no, yeah, please,
Still-
please donate to Wikipedia. They really need your help. Is
Haven't
that
they-
part of the net neutrality thing?
I don't know.
they need your help. Why they're gonna shut down?
No, yeah, because if they don't, because
Okay, but they've been
not like a
they've been
subscribed
doing
thing.
that pop-up saying give us money for like 5 years. They're
but that
not
means they
going
still-
anywhere.
No, but they still need it,
I'm
obviously.
sure they still need it. They're not going anywhere. It's Wikipedia.
But
Come on,
you know,
come on,
yeah.
come
So
on.
anyways,
Anyway,
pay
this
information.
continuing
Pay
on,
Wikipedia.
yes.
Sorry, I don't know what was.
It sounds like from the internet's greatest source of information, Wikipedia. It sounds like the gist of it was it just was a little too ridiculous
okay.
for
Yeah, back in
Japanese
the day, yeah, that makes
audiences.
sense. Yeah,
considering the timing of the release and the subject matter.
yeah.
It sounded like people just weren't buying it
That's
It
funny.
hit close to the heart
That's funny.
until
until
it got a limited release in the US, and US critics loved it, and that's when Japanese critics changed their mind about it.
Okay, that's actually. I'm not even gonna comment on that, but that's really funny. But like,
That's a little
that's interesting. Though,
ironic.
that they didn't like it at first, but then America
changed
was
their
like, "No,
mind.
we love it," and then they were like, "The West, yeah, we like it."
They're,
And
they're
then-
right.
Yeah,
They're right.
yeah, and then they changed their mind because then because I found it funny because then now it's like pretty much every Japanese film or TV show has a giant monster, and then they've also got like what are those things called? The giant robots?
Mechs.
Yeah,
Mechas?
yeah. Just
Yeah.
every single thing I've seen from Japan has something like that. Like
And this very much kicked it off.
yeah. Everything from like like obviously like something like Power Rangers and what's that one I'm thinking of? It's Evangelion. I can't think of their official name, but like
Neon Genesis.
yeah,
Evangelion.
Neon Genesis Evangelion,
Same.
all the way to. I was mixing my words, yeah. And Neon Genesis Evangelion, all the way to like
Evangelion.
even like Code Geass has like mechs for like no discernible reason, but I just thought it was funny that they didn't like it. That's like Americans not liking cowboy movies, and then suddenly they're like, no, other people like that. We're gonna make every cowboy movie we can possibly think of. Get John Wayne, like
Yeah.
it's just funny.
Yeah.
I mean, even the video games have like monsters and
It's,
yeah, exactly.
it grossed this is worldwide, so mostly in Japan, and then like the short to mid-range international releases.
Mhm.
It grossed about, inflated to USD 2.2 million, so it definitely
Okay,
made
so it made money, but it was
definitely
like it only made like 700 grand in the red.
it definitely made a profit.
Yeah.
Um
It's just 700,000 free bucks.
probably a lot more of a budget than they anticipate, or a lot more of a profit than they were anticipating.
Oh, really?
To be, I mean, I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
They probably made more than they were anticipating.
Yeah. Well, wait. Hold on. Was the 2.2 mil adjusted for inflation and stuff?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say if that was 2.2 mil back then, I'm like, oh, they made a profit.
No. I mean, I'm assuming it's adjusted for inflation. This doesn't specify.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, but we'll take it at that value. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Either way, that's like the worst case scenario. If it wasn't adjusted for inflation, then that's even better. But either way.
Yeah.
So Gojira, good movie.
Yeah. So just a couple other fun facts.
No, wait. Gojira was the one that was once it came to America. Then
They liked it.
we're not
The
talking
original.
about-
No, the original.
The original
The
had a
original?
limited release in America.
Yes.
Not talking about
Correct.
the remake. Okay,
Correct.
got it.
Oh.
Because I was like,
The original had a limited release here. I believe in 54.
Because if they looked at the Americanized
No,
one
no,
and then
no.
looked back on theirs, they were
I
like,
know.
"Oh no, we like ours better." I was like, "That makes
It
sense."
had a very limited run, and the critics who saw it very
Praised
much
it.
enjoyed it and praised
Yeah.
it.
As I did. Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, a couple fun facts to appreciate it a little more. The man inside the suit is a god, a living legend.
Morgan Freeman.
It is not Morgan Freeman.
A young Morgan Freeman. He's like fresh out of college. He's like 20. He's
I
like,
was like very,
the
very
man-
young.
"Well, sure, I'll
inside
do
the
this film for
suit.
you," you know?
I can't.
You don't know God's name?
I do not. I do
Mine didn't.
not. Oh, it was two guys. Two guys.
Two guys in one suit.
Two guys alternating because the first suit that they made for Goji was about 220 pounds.
Oh, jeez.
Wow, that thing is heavy.
Obviously, they realized that they couldn't operate that, so they basically cut it in half and they made a hand puppet out of like the head and the arms, and then they took like the top half. They cut the suit in half basically. They made it a bit lighter. They like reworked it a bit, made it a bit lighter so that they'd only have to wear like half the suit when it was needed. They still did construct a newer full body suit, which was a little lighter. It doesn't look like it gives me the weight of that one. But what is widely known is that the poor soul, the legend, the god himself, was inside that newer full body suit. Literally could only stay in it for 3 minutes before he passed out.
Oh my god! Yeah, I don't imagine there's any
that heavy and that hot. Like he was sweating buckets.
There's no like like oxygen or like.
Well, they weren't gonna pump oxygen in. I mean, that might
also keep in mind this was the first time that any of this was ever done.
Yeah, so I mean,
like all of this, I should also mention like all of the special effects, the suits, the pyrotechnics, the miniatures, all of it was pioneered for this film by the legend himself, E.G. Tsuburaya, who would go on to he's basically the Japanese equivalent of Stan Winston.
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, yeah, so it's kind of like I'm trying to think of an equivalent to that, like where they would do something, but it was like the first time they'd done it, so they couldn't figure it out quite right.
Well, that's exactly what this film was.
No. But I was gonna say there's a different example, like something more recent. I guess kind of like the original Iron Man, 10, 11 years ago. They made like a full suit for Robert Downey Jr. Every single suit after that has been like CGI. They'll do like a helmet or something or a bust at most. That's like,
still really different though.
I know, but I'm saying like the full body suit was not practical really. Like he was not gonna be able to do everything, and obviously they'd have to enhance it with CG anyway. So it was like after that first time they were like, no, let's make this easier. So now it's just all mocap stuff. And I mean, so same idea where it's like, it wasn't breathable. It was heavy as hell. He was gonna pass out every 3 minutes. So like one shot, and then they open up the suit and he's like
basically.
He must have just had an oxygen destroyer in there in his suit all the time. That's why he passed out.
Like the astronauts.
Yeah, they took the budget and they engineered a legit oxygen destroyer.
Yeah, really. And just left it in the suit.
That part of the movie was not fake.
Yeah. So the other aspect that I want to mention real quick, that just kind of made this film hit even harder. It's one of those things where unless you're like a major history buff, like actual history buff, you probably wouldn't ever pick up on it. The opening scene of the film, with the fishing boat, which basically gets nuked.
Oh yeah.
That was based on a real life event that happened just months before the film was made.
Oh wow! What was that?
That was the I forget what the actual event was called. That was when we did nuclear testings on Bikini Island.
Oh no!
It was a real event. The Lucky Dragon, I believe the boat was called. They were, I don't remember necessarily if they were in the blast radius, but they definitely got hit by the radiation.
Oh wow!
It was a big disaster.
Well, yeah, I mean, even if they weren't in the blast radius, like just the rays,
yeah.
Like even if you're not part of that group that like gets fried and then like blown away, it's like if you're anywhere close to like getting hit by the light, like if you're anywhere near that, your skin gets like fried. It's like instant melanoma.
Oh, yeah.
So unlike the Godzilla aspect, that one was almost a direct. I don't want to say recreation, but that one was a direct reference to the actual event that happened just months prior.
Yeah, ooh, that's kind of rough.
Again, definitely very effective opening though, especially if you're aware of that detail.
Yeah, wow.
Really that's sets incredible. The tone, which I think is the perfect segue to the Americanized botched version.
Which, let me start by saying, completely watered down like the pathos of the original and undermine 100%. The social commentary and the Japanese like significance of
not only undermined the point of the film, but also effectively made every single plot thread and character arc completely irrelevant.
Yeah,
because it just pushed every single Japanese character into the background as they were basically just running extras.
Yeah, even the ones who were like main characters, they still tried to make them like characters, but like without the heavy focus on them because our protagonist was an American journalist. Yeah, it kind of just it was funny. It kind of reminded me of The Great Gatsby, where like Nick Carraway, the main character, or the not the main character, but like the eyes and ears essentially of the audience. Like he's the narrator. He's the one we see the whole story through. He doesn't really like, if you read the book, I'm not talking about the movies, but the book, he doesn't really he doesn't do a damn thing. He kind of just walks around and like observes all these things. So we see everybody else's, like Gatsby and Daisy and everybody, we see them all, if they have arcs, then we see their arcs play out. If they don't, then we just see, kind of what bad people they are. But like, we see it through Nick, but he's not necessarily a character. And that's kind of what I felt like with Steve Martin here, which I thought was funny. Because, anyways, yeah. No, but yeah, so the journalist I thought was kind of like that, like where he didn't really have an arc. He didn't really have a reason for being there per se, except to just like for any of the major events that like, and they kind of just threw him in like new footage that they would record just to kind of intercut with the old footage. They'd throw him into the plot points of the original movie, and then it kind of just it definitely felt like he was shoehorned in. At no point did I feel like it made sense for him to be there. Like at no point did I feel that way. But you might feel differently, Kay. But I don't know. What did you think of it?
Let me look at my notes here.
I thought it was unnecessary, but.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I'll start off before we just start just digging into it.
Yeah.
Let me start off by explaining how this came to be. Shall I?
Yes.
Also, I misspoke earlier when I said that the original Gojira came to the U.S. and then got good reviews. That did happen. I misspoke on when that happened, which I'm about to dig into now. So, Gojira, 1954, that came out
in Japan.
1956, U.S. I don't know what. I don't think it was a studio. Interesting.
What?
Okay. Long story short, they licensed it out for $25,000 to the U.S. to release it here and kind of do what they will, basically. Just $25,000.
Is that how we got King of the Monsters?
Yeah, I'm explaining that.
Okay, so they did. So we did whatever we wanted to, and we just completely made the Japanese invisible, essentially, and threw in America because
because we're American.
F it.
It completely makes sense in hindsight why they didn't just import the original here. Because 1956 Gojira would not fly, or Gojira would not fly in 1956 as it existed.
Why?
Because from 1956 America's perspective, it is essentially just the Americans are evil because they bombed us movie.
Oh, so they understood the social commentary.
Oh.
Yes.
But,
so they took the film.
They took like the underlying commentary from that, not the overt like nuclear weapons are bad. It was kind of like a subtweet to America, or subtweet, is that what it's called?
I think that's what it's called.
I don't know. I'm not educated, but yeah, like when you kind of like an underhand comment, like we don't get paid enough. They're not selling products. You know what I mean? Something like that. Like that's kind of what it is. So like the whisper would have been America sucks, but like don't do nuclear testing. don't mess with nuclear bombs. Like So that's why they wouldn't.
I mean,
but also it was the Japanese, so we were still really sore. We were butthurt.
Yeah,
over,
Pearl
Harbor.
I'm not saying that this is like exactly what happened. I'm just saying this is what makes the most sense.
Yeah,
to me.
But that's why they totally like overdubbed.
All I know is they got the rights to the film to release here, and they decided to Americanize it to make it more relatable for audiences in America in 1956.
That makes sense because then they tried to make it sympathetic towards the Japanese. Like
yes,
you know.
It also makes perfect sense why they
Through the
decided
American.
to throw in an American actor.
Oh, totally.
The execution was god awful, but it makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't just straight up take the plot and remake it from the ground up.
Because at that point, it's a remake.
I know, but I mean, but if they got the rights
Okay,
to do
so
whatever, then they could have.
So I'll put it this way. So they effectively had a budget of $25,000 to do what they did.
Okay, yeah. So
Well, hold on, because this is the genius of it. I totally get what they did.
Mm-hmm.
They took Japan's nuclear fallout film
Mm-hmm.
and they turned it into something that could sell in 1956 America, which is just a cheesy, schlocky B monster movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like Beast
Plan
of
9 from Outer Space.
Beast of 10,000 Fathoms, I think it was.
Oh, okay, yeah. Or I think that's what. Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
those films sold
Mhm.
back then. King Kong, which was actually the direct inspiration for this.
Black Lagoon, Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah. They effectively took Gojira and turned it into that to sell.
Yeah.
And they had took a budget of $25,000 to film all the extra stuff, to re-edit it,
Mhm.
and it grossed $2 million.
Okay, so America kind of we kind of played that one, but that's low key pirating though, because or not pirating, plagiarism, because half the film, if not more, was the original Japanese stuff, and they straight up just kind of took out the dialogue, put it a horrible dub in English, reworked they just took clips to make.
No,
it's like what I do with essays. I basically just take other people's work and then my sentence starts with the, and then I just include the entire quote, and that's my sentence.
In terms of the integrity of the film itself, they totally destroyed it. But again,
they were doing it to sell,
with a budget of $25,000, it grossed almost as much as the original did worldwide.
Yeah, so I mean, don't get me wrong, that's impressive.
Yes, and so going back to
America.
Going back to America? What?
No.
Going back to what I was saying earlier, how I misspoke. The original film had mixed reviews until this version came out 2 years later.
Oh, so I was right.
Yeah.
So they looked at the American one and went, "Oh, ours was so much better. I like it a lot more now."
Not necessarily. They saw the rave reviews here.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't want to say rave reviews. Even this one got kind of mixed reviews.
I can see why, but yeah, continue.
Point being, it definitely seemed like it got better reviews than the general reception of the original was.
Of Gojira, yeah.
So. I don't know. Maybe they're just like, are we wrong?
Yeah, and then maybe they took another look at it. I honestly think it probably was that. They looked at the one we did and they were like, okay, well, now we can appreciate it more because it could have been King of the Monsters, but it was Gojira.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like that's probably what it was.
Now, for those who may not be familiar, because we've been talking about how this film destroys the original, what it does specifically is it as we have kind of been mentioning, but not really. What the Americanized version did was they took the original and they essentially cut out all of the Japanese main characters. Essentially, there are still some scenes with them in there, but they don't really have the same roles that they did in the original. And all the social commentary is gone about nuclear warfare and all that.
They're basically just side characters because too much of the movie had them in it, and so they had to throw them in somehow.
Yeah, they reshot basically half the film with a did I say American earlier? He's a Canadian actor.
Oh, that's funny. But he plays an American character.
Yeah.
He's an American journalist.
Raymond Burr is the actor. So they cast him and basically made him the lead character as a news reporter who just happens to be in Japan when Godzilla strikes.
Actually happens to be at all these locations when everything
they
goes down. It just so happens
they turn this
that he's
social
there.
commentary into essentially a not a globetrotting adventure, but it becomes a story of this news reporter who just tags along with all these Japanese locals as they run away from a giant lizard.
Like I said,
he just narrates over. He doesn't do anything.
like Nick in The Great Gatsby. Like he just is there to be there
Yeah,
to witness everything, and he's kind of just dragged along to all the parties and all the adventures.
But
and he's
even
kind of like, okay, but
but
you
even
know.
less so, because at least that one had some kind of social commentary, or at least a point to it.
No, but that was intended to be that way. This one obviously missed that.
No, yeah,
it
that's
did
what
the
I'm
same
saying.
thing, but it missed that. But I mean,
He's there literally just
so that
as a
we
vehicle.
just so we can witness what's going on.
Yeah,
And then he gives us like tons of narration,
yeah,
but you know, dulled down for American. Like they'll be speaking in Japanese, and he'll simplify it
Yeah.
in one sentence.
So the original was 97 minutes long, like an hour and 40 minutes.
Mhm.
This one is 80 minutes long.
It's like just shy of. It's like an hour and 20.
Yeah. So they cut like
16 minutes.
16 minutes of footage, but then they shot an additional 25 minutes footage. So they
No. It was they cut 16 minutes of the total runtime.
yes.
So 60 minutes are just gone permanently.
Yes.
Of those remaining 80, 25 is new footage.
Yeah.
So
They effectively
it's like
cut like half the film.
yeah, so
the original film.
55 minutes is original footage, although the integrity of it is kind of weak because like they've
Yeah.
taken out all the original dubbing or
Yeah, they
what have
also
you.
they also restructured like the order of events kind of.
Yeah,
they
I noticed that
kinda-
a lot of scenes were like
Yeah.
here and here.
they restructured the narrative completely, but
yes.
you know.
So before we just start digging into
I
all of
did-
our notes on it.
I did actually like how they started out with the decimation of Tokyo.
Oh, that was
and then went backwards. I kind of like I'm you know partial to that sort of storytelling. You know that, Cody.
yes, except it doesn't work here.
No, it doesn't work
But-
the best here, but it's like I kind of appreciated that how they you know didn't do it very linear because I know a lot of movies back then were very linear storytelling. Like it
Yeah.
was just very simple, cut and dry. But like I like how they kind of went backwards like that. You know, and kind of got you
Yeah.
in the mood for it, and then did all the boring like lead up to it, and then did the decimation. So it's kind of like oh okay, you know.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that, but that's just me.
So before we start getting into the gritty details of what went wrong in this cut,
It's simple. I just say everything.
and before we really dig into it, I gotta point out something. The real stinger of why this film is effectively, if you ask any random Joe Schmo, have you seen Godzilla, the original? They'll go, yeah, the one with Raymond Burr. Reason for that is because from 1956, you could only see this version in the US all the way up till 2004. The original version,
Wow, so they waited 50 years to raise an embargo on Gojira.
yeah, the original version was not officially released here in the US until 2004. So this was the version that I grew up
Damn.
on. This is the version that everyone grew up on here, at least,
Mhm.
unless you either imported, were in Japan, or
a descendant.
I don't know,
Or-
something.
or- yeah, somehow you just got a copy of it. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the unfortunate part. But we now are past 2004.
Okay, wait. So you mentioned you grew up on Godzilla King of the Monsters, not Gojira.
I mean, I grew up on all the films.
Well,
In
but,
general.
but as far as the original goes, you would have said Godzilla King of the Monsters as the original, correct?
Yeah, up until 2004.
Yeah. So then when you saw that, okay, wait, yeah, hold on, 2004. You would have been close to 10 or something, right? So,
It really didn't make
But-
too much of a difference to me.
yeah, because having seen the original now, then did you change your mind at all on your stance on King of the Monsters?
In what way?
Like having seen King of the Monsters, knowing okay that's the original, and then actually seeing the true original Gojira, did you change your mind on like how the original should be or which one should be considered the original?
No, I've never considered King of the Monsters the true original.
Okay,
Uh,
you just kept them separate.
I mean, again, I grew up on them in the sense that like from like age like I don't know 3.
Mm-hmm.
I literally grew up with these films.
He was 3 when he. Jesus. I mean, I was 9 when I saw Total Recall. I don't know if you know what that is, but I'm
Yeah.
not talking about the remake. I'm talking about the original.
Yeah, the
like, you know,
original. I literally grew up watching these films.
Okay.
So they all, at that point, by the time the 2004 release came out, I don't even know if I knew the difference between the original or not. I just know I've seen them
He didn't
both.
process it.
What's
the
He comes
difference?
back 10 years later. He's like, oh, they were different. They're different cuts. What? I thought they were the same. My memory's a blur.
Yeah, I was traumatized from Godzilla as a kid, which is how I
Rightfully so.
became in love with it.
I mean, if I probably asked my grandpa, it would probably be the original because I'm the descendant. Japanese. So,
Oh, yeah.
like third generation World War Three. I mean, not three. World War II.
First generation World War Three.
Yeah.
I'm pre
Third
World War
generation
Three.
World War Two.
So third generation World War Two.
Yeah, because my grandpa was, Hawaii is
Mhm.
connected to Pearl Harbor and everything.
Yeah.
So he
Were
was
you-
there when it happened.
Were you able to understand? Like, I don't know how much Japanese you actually know. Did you like need the subtitles a whole lot for the original?
Yeah, I can't. Sadly, I can't understand it too much. It wasn't passed down. You know why? Because after that, Japanese were in concentration camps. So my family was in that.
Oh yeah, so they threw that out.
Yeah, it was you weren't allowed to speak Japanese. So in Hawaii, you had to like communicate different, like either with your hands or like broken Japanese.
Mm,
So it was never passed down.
that
To me.
sucks.
Yeah.
Sadly.
I feel like I should say sorry.
No, it's fine.
I mean, it's
I'm not offended or anything.
No. I
I'm
just
pretty
mean,
much
like,
Americanized.
because of that, because that was a thing. That was a horrible thing we did and really should not repeat. But yeah.
What?
Oh, I think he said something about
Don't worry about it.
politics. That's what I'm going to say. Modern politics. So I know we're cutting it close on time here, but any last thoughts, Kay, on Godzilla King of the Monsters, the American version?
No last thoughts. I have a lot to say about this movie.
What do you mean?
It's been a very long time since I've seen King of the Monsters, and I gotta say, oh boy,
Did you
Oh,
hate
boy.
it more now?
oh yeah,
Oh god.
oh yeah. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why it's opening the way it does. Just causes the whole film to fall apart. Jonathan.
Yeah, sorry,
Jonathan.
my full name is Jonathan, for those of you who don't know.
It is now, at least. Here's why the film opening basically at the end of the film,
Mhm.
and then backtracking, just caused the whole thing to fall apart. Because I can set aside the fact that it's no longer a social commentary film. I can view it just as a straight monster movie.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the problem: is that the film, like going past that opening scene, just from chronologically speaking, start to finish, it is a film about characters investigating something and then going, "Oh my God, there's a dinosaur," and then it destroys them. So it deflates all of that suspense and tension when it just opens with the whole damn city being destroyed
True. Okay, I see that. So, like,
and the
so-
main character still being alive.
Yeah, so you know what's gonna happen, and then going, and then going
I'm
back and going, we don't know what
and-
it is or what's gonna happen, and then we realize,
I could be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure he even says in the opening scene, it was a monster.
I think he did. Yeah, something
Oh, yeah.
something to that extent where it's like he alluded to.
It's not like a
something
bomb
heinous
went
that
off.
did this damage. Yeah,
No,
a
it was-
thing that did this
yeah, it
damage.
was a creature.
and could do it again. He said,
Yeah,
which is like their excuse for
yeah. So
more
that
nuclear tests, more Godzilla.
yeah. So for what the film was, that just kind of ruined it
Yeah,
from the get go.
yeah.
Let's see. We already discussed how it completely undermines all the social commentary and all the characters. They keep unnecessarily. We were talking about this when we were watching it. They keep unnecessarily just making changes to details. Like the original Gojira, he was 50 meters tall. It's roughly 150 feet.
Mhm.
And then this one, they go, by our estimation, he's 400 feet tall. And then an hour later, they go, he's about 300 feet tall. They can't even get their facts straight in their own movie.
Well, in their defense, the 300 feet comment was after they determined it was about 400 feet.
Well,
Or
sure.
over 400 feet. The next comment was
It's-
was actually Matthew did was because the narrator said he's over like he's like doing a report or something like on a tape. And so
Right.
he's describing it and he says it's over it's about 30, it's as tall as a 30-story building, and you did the math, and about 10 feet per story is the usual. So
Yeah.
what he would be assuming is it's 300 feet. So yeah, they kind of botched their
Yeah.
facts a little bit, but
Either way, it's just why?
yeah, why
do you
bother?
gotta artificially make him 400 feet tall? That is, scaling wise, doesn't even make any sense. He's not that much taller than the buildings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
He's
He's
150
pretty short.
feet tall.
I mean, was he not that much taller than the buildings? I thought
No. he was about, I mean, roughly speaking, he was maybe like double the height of the buildings.
Okay, yeah. So he should have been about. I
150.
mean, they were only like 15 stories. They weren't like huge buildings.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
No,
Like,
it wasn't like
skyscrapers
it
or
wasn't like
anything.
New York skyscrapers.
Yeah, no,
this was like
50s Japan.
yeah.
Like it,
Yeah, like
yeah.
it
No,
wasn't what it.
he was a small monster.
Yeah, Tokyo was not what it is today.
Yeah.
like he was as tall as those power lines. pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
Like,
he was
it's the
the
same
literal
height.
power
So
line,
so unless
yeah.
they're
Yeah.
saying that they built
400 foot.
400, 500, 600 foot tall, because those power lines were bigger than he was.
Yeah, exactly. He was running into him. Like
Yeah,
the
like-
power lines are at his. The actual lines are like in his
Yeah.
face. and
Yeah,
shit.
I mean that's more of a, I mean it's more of a nitpick than anything, but it just kind of just
It was just unnecessary. Why even list the height?
it just shows
you
the
know?
mentality of the film. If they're like the fact that they're making those kind of changes for no apparent reason,
Yeah, just to
just for the sake of
changing it.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we want it to be even more of our film.
that's-
Like we've already erased the whole Japanese like presence in this movie,
Yeah.
pretty much essentially. But like,
Yeah.
Another unnecessary change. I love this one. I don't know if you guys caught it. It was also when the reporter, I forget when exactly. It was sometime after Godzilla was like destroying ships. The reporter goes, 8 ships have been engulfed in fire. 8 ships. It was only 2. They just artificially just decided,
they made it.
screw it.
Well,
He destroyed a whole
Did-
battalion of ships.
I think I remember hearing like 13 or 8 or something like on a number or something. In the original, seeing it on like a newspaper headline that they would do between is kind of a transitional shot. I do remember like a high number or a higher number than 2 coming up. I just took it as like those were the first 2 instances, and then like later in the Japanese one, they just kind of jumped forward a little bit in time and said, okay, now it's been 8. In the American one, yeah, it did make sense because they didn't have that like
Yeah.
passage of time. It was just kind of
It was
the
just
same day it was implied, and then it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well now there's 8. He's making it sound worse for the American newspaper. He's
And-
like, by the way, Japan's just getting mauled right now, when really they're like, dude, it's not that bad.
And then no one
Yeah.
survived, right? He said no survivors, but there were people that survived.
Yeah, there were like 3.
Weren't there?
It was
Yeah.
it was something
Oh,
like that.
wait, did they cut that out?
No.
I think they cut out the 3 survivors floating in the water. I think because they had the one show
That's
up and
right.
then die.
That's right.
Oh,
They did
they
cut
cut
that
the
out. Yeah, they
survivors,
cut out the survivors, except for the one mandatory one, because that's kind of.
but then he died.
Yeah.
But even still, that whole scene,
Well,
they
they
didn't like
just-
translate or anything. They kind of just let it play out, but we didn't know what they were saying because there were no subtitles.
yeah, that
It
was
in Japanese.
that was the brilliant part. So they hire an English speaking lead actor to carry the film, and then because of that, they don't bother. Like they basically just throw out the subtitles. Like they condensed the whole original film, more or less the plot of it, just kind of recapped. It was like a Spark Note version of the original film.
Yeah, like what the
Except they kept the Japanese audio for 90% of the film.
Mhm.
But no subtitles,
well, okay, they,
which led to recapping.
the whole movie. Yeah,
the
it was
whole
like
movie-
narrative.
Yeah, it led to
Or
the
narration.
reporter not telling us, being told by a translator what the original Japanese characters are saying.
Yeah, they'll have a translator tell
Right.
him, tell the
Tell
the
the
reporter like
reporter
what's
what
going
everyone else
on.
is
Yeah,
saying.
and simplifying it, watering it down hella.
which is it's so funny.
and then
it's so
like
good.
and then there were parts where like where we were watching something that he wasn't there for, like that, where the one survivor floated up and then died.
Yeah,
Like where he's kind of narrating at Spark Notes, but like he's narrating
but he wasn't
watered
there.
down. Yeah, but he wasn't there.
Yeah,
And then they're just letting the Japanese audio play, but then like the translator will do it sometimes. And then like my favorite is when they get like stock footage of the Japanese actors, and intercut it with like body doubles and
Mhm.
the American actor, and they're trying to make conversations that never happened
yeah,
happen, and then they like dub it in English,
yeah.
and it's the worst
Most.
dub job I've ever seen.
I mean that's just a staple of Godzilla films. That is why we are watching them in Japanese,
Yeah, exactly.
because
So-
that is the
then
meme.
it's, yeah. 'Cause
Uh,
that's the
Well, the
meme.
best was when they would speak in Japanese the name and then cut.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
to
that's even
English.
better. Yeah.
No. The best part is like when you get to the last third of the film, when the Japanese characters who up until this point had never spoken English, they just decided to randomly start dubbing them.
But they
'cause-
speak
Yeah.
English like to each
I
other
guess-
too.
Oh yeah, because they can understand each other.
But
Yeah,
but
like-
the only explanation I can think of is that they didn't have the budget to keep filming the actor narrating, so they just said, okay, we're just going to redub these scenes.
Well, plus some of them, it didn't make sense. Like there was no feasible way they could have cut him into that last scene.
You could just done a narration, like
no, but
like
I mean,
all
like
the
in
others.
but I mean, like in the laboratory, that one they couldn't mess with the pacing. The laboratory scene where
they
like
chopped that one up to hell too.
no, but they could not really change the total pacing of it because like if they did and they just kind of like did quick little snippets, you would have missed a lot of necessary context, right? So that one they couldn't cut up, and I understand that one. But like dubbing it was kind of stupid because like, I mean that comes to the overall problem of not having subtitles. Had they included subtitles from the get-go, they could have gotten rid of the crappy narration. They could have gotten rid of the translator, and then they could have let that scene play out in its entirety. But with the subtitles, and you wouldn't have lost anything. But because they did and they dubbed it, it's a horrible dub job. It's distracting. They did cut it up a little bit, but like I understand why, because like there was no way they could just write him into that scene because the way they shot it in the original one, you just couldn't put him in like the corner of the room just sitting there, and you know what I mean? It was
there.
Sure you could. He did that for the whole movie.
No, but
But
those are things.
absolutely
There were
nothing.
things where like he was like during the destruction of Tokyo, he was in a building that like we just probably didn't see in the original. Then
All
there
right,
was.
I'll give you a counterpoint.
There was, but like other ones, there were like crowds that he was just kind of in the background of, and just we pretend like he's not in the shot for the Japanese footage. But
I'll give you a counterpoint
Mhm.
that I noticed that I don't think either of you noticed, and I was dying when I noticed it.
What?
The reason why they totally could have done that, just have him just appear in the laboratory, is because when Godzilla, what was it? When Godzilla attacks the island at night for the first time,
Mhm.
And the reporter's there with subtitle man, when he's like a monsoon is like,
oh yeah,
like
when
the
they weren't even
hurricane.
tripping, they weren't even tripping about the monsoon
Yeah.
until like
Right, right.
until
Tent.
we cut, and
Right,
then
right.
suddenly the tent blows. We're like, oh,
They're hanging onto a tree.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing that I noticed that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, other than the fact that they just wanted him to appear in as many scenes as possible without it making any sense. He was there on the island when Godzilla attacked. Then he leaves magically to go to the conference where they're all like, we think there's something on the island because people are saying that things got destroyed.
Mhm.
So then he goes back
to the island,
to the island that he was just on to find Godzilla.
and then monsoon.
No, monsoon was first. He was
I
there
didn't
for the
catch that.
monsoon.
I did not catch that. Yeah.
Left the island to the conference.
Oh, so the conference is the black sheep here.
Yes.
Okay, I
When
thought
he
you
could've
meant the
just-
monsoon was the black sheep. I was like,
When if this was like laid out properly, he could have just went, they think there's a monster that did this? I'm just going to check it out right now.
yeah, exactly. Like he heard word of mouth from somebody
But
who came down
Yeah.
to the island afterwards from
And-
that conference, and then just said he.
and on top of that, the conference that he just magically appears in.
oh yeah, he's taking notes.
Yeah,
He's taking notes.
It's
He's able to sit in the front-
So it's a
front row.
conference of like all the survivors from the monsoon,
Mhm.
and they're all giving their testaments on why they think that it's not just a normal monsoon or tsunami or whatever, right?
Yeah, just test.
Like
testimonial,
in the
it's
original
like,
film, they're all like, no, like this is something else, right?
This
I think one of them even says
It's a
like,
monster,
It's a monster. In this version, because it's this version, we don't get subtitles. So
he kind of just breezes
our-
over what they said.
So our character, who relies on a translator who isn't present, is now in a room full of Japanese people who are speaking Japanese. He doesn't understand them. We don't get subtitles, and he's still taking notes on what they're saying.
Yeah. I know, that's the best. It's like suddenly he can just he knows that they're
But that's what I mean. I strongly get the feeling that they wanted to shove him in every scene possible, regardless of how much it made sense.
But the
And
Yeah,
they
I feel like
probably just ran out of budget.
because I feel like that one they could have just
That one made no
They
sense.
could have let it play out in Japanese and he summarizes it, but he
They
didn't have
could
to
have just
be there
cut the
'cause he could've just-
conference.
He could have just been like, "Hey, word of mouth says this," Because I mean, I get them like not being able to dub that whole scene, but like, because I mean, they tried. I will give them that. They tried to take clips that looked like what they were trying to dub it with was actually coming out of
They
their
didn't even
mouths.
dub the scene.
No, I know, but I mean, like, them not dubbing it made sense because they were like, okay, well, we want it to look good as much as we can,
Right.
so we're not going to be able to dub the whole scene, but having him just narrate it would have been just as fine if he's like, okay, so I heard this and here's what came out of this meeting and just talks about it
Well,
and we see it, but not like he was there. You know what I mean? Because that was him being there makes no sense. That
Well,
breaks the scene. But him just talking about it wouldn't, you know?
Yeah. I mean, what I was talking about is it could just cut the conference.
I mean, yeah,
entirely.
You could have, but you needed to understand narratively that like the people know that like something's up, and them giving their testimony was important because it had to mention that like
Not even.
they thought it was a monster. It was kind of that build up like you were talking about. Like it has to be something bigger. They could have gone the Jurassic Park route and just cut that completely and just gone right to, okay, this monsoon thing happened.
Yeah.
And then, things got messed up.
I mean,
and then, oh wait, there's a giant footprint in the ground that's radioactive.
Here's all it would have taken if they were going for trying to make some kind of narrative sense. They're there at night. The tornado happens. Everyone's freaking out, right? Mm-hmm. You get some new footage of him saving a local, and the local goes, Godzilla, it's a monster. And then he looks over to the translator, and he asks the translator, what's he talking about? And the translator goes, oh, it's a folklore that a giant monster likes to attack this place.
Yeah, it lives in the sea and just comes up every now and then eats their girls.
Yeah, and then he goes, and then the what's his name? Raymond Burr. Raymond Burr. Then all he has to do is go, okay, let's investigate. Cut to day when the investigation team shows up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it could have easily been. Yeah, I think they wanted to. I don't know what the deal was like. Concerning the $25,000 that they were licensed to do whatever with, but like, I don't know. Like I don't know what kind of legalities were behind that deal, but they might not have been able to cut too much of the movie, which is why there's only so much. Yeah, because they tried to include a lot of it, and I was like, why wouldn't you have just redone it? I mean, I understand America at the time not wanting to hire a bunch of Japanese actors to remake it from scratch, but like,
well, because also even today that goes a far beyond just porting a movie or importing a movie.
No, exactly. But I mean, like how much they cut out, but how much they left in as well is like, I feel like that had to be a legality thing. Like they couldn't cut that much of the movie without just making a new movie. So so that kind of makes sense why they were like, okay, well, if we're gonna cut a whole bunch of other stuff, we have to cut this scene, or I mean, we have to keep this scene to keep that. You're kind of like Sony and their Spider-Man deal, like, oh, we're coming up on 6 years, so 5 years out, let's just make another movie now because
either way, point being, it was just a mess.
Mm-hmm.
So the last two things that I noticed, the last two things that I want to point out.
Yeah. Okay, did you have anything else to say? Just before he starts, did you have anything else?
No, I'm gonna let him finish.
No, I was gonna say like I'm out of notes, so like after this, I don't have anything to add. So
I'll just let him finish.
Yeah.
Okay. I loved how the reporter was basically Tommy Wiseau in this film, like the in the sense, not acting wise. He did a fine job acting.
No, he did a fine job acting.
I'm referring to the fact that the characters that could speak English and Japanese at the same time, like the bilingual characters.
Mm-hmm.
They all knew who he was.
Yeah. There was no explanation.
He would just walk up to like the chief of, I don't know, police or whatever, whoever he was, and be like, "Oh, hey, what's up? Yeah, I know you. You're here to do a story, huh?"
But the funny part is, the every other Japanese character dubbed now by very much white actors, voice actors would come up and be like. The character's name was Steve Martin, right? So they'd be like,
Steve,
"Oh, Steve Martin, hi."
Yeah, they knew his first and last name.
No, but they would repeat his first and last name.
Yeah.
But then it was like they know him like he's some sort of a hero or something to them, right?
Yeah.
Like in Kim Possible, everybody who she'd ever get a ride from in like every episode was like, "Hey, thanks for saving me from that like meteor that was going to hit my house last week, Kim." And then she's like, "No problem." Like,
everyone knows this guy, and he does absolutely nothing.
We don't even know this guy. Like, what the hell?
So I thought that was funny.
That is funny. Actually, I didn't notice that.
Yeah. And then the last note I have here kind of goes back to the issue I had with kind of ties back to the whole structure issue, specifically how the beginning kind of deflates everything. I also really did not like how in all of the pre-reveal attacks, if that makes sense, like the tsunami attack and the boats.
Oh, okay. So everything before we actually saw the monster.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hated how they had the fucking monster roar in all those attacks. Because if it wasn't obvious already, oh hey, it's a monster.
Yeah, like that defeated the whole.
In the
Yeah,
original, again,
that's
like you
horrible.
didn't get any of those. It was just a boat went missing, a really strange tsunami just
came out of
devastated
nowhere,
everything.
yeah. And then it gets revealed.
Oh,
Wait,
it's a monster.
dinosaur
Yeah.
from 2 million years ago, which they messed up. It was not. They were off by like 63 million years.
Yeah,
the
so-
Jurassic period was very much long ago.
Yeah, it's
Actually, wait.
It's
Wait, hold on.
Huh.
65 million years, was that Jurassic Park or not Jurassic Park, Jurassic period, or was
Jurassic
that
Park absolutely
or was that
killed
the or was that the extinction of the
directed
dinosaurs?
by
I
the
do not
immortal
know.
legend Steven
'Cause-
Spielberg.
Because
Because I thought the extinction of the dinosaurs was 65 million years ago, which now that I think about it would have been the Cretaceous period, but because I think it was Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous, and I think that was the last one. I could be wrong,
That sounds
but
right.
I think Jurassic was the middle of those three big ones, and like it was way further before, so it was like close to 100 million. So they really.
So do you have any final thoughts before we wrap up here?
Actually, no, you covered it all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Yeah, you pretty
okay,
much
let's,
covered.
let's get to these. We did this on a. Unfortunately for the audience, you guys aren't going to be able to hear like the 5 previous attempts we had at this podcast, where we talked about some other movies and stuff. So we did something similar, but
Then we talked about
we had a bunch of technical difficulties, so those will never see the light of day. Yeah, but we're gonna try to stick to form a little bit, I'd say, and give a out of 10 review our personal scores of this film.
the original is a masterpiece, 10 out of 10. This one is
I would agree.
This one is doo-doo. King of the Monsters, the Americanized version.
What would you give it though?
I would give it
Looks at notes.
8 ships engulfed in fire out of the entire Japanese fleet.
Oh, okay. That's a huge
Okay.
number. So that comes down to like 0.03%
Yeah.
out of 10. Okay, what would you give it?
First, what?
Sorry, go on.
All right, the first one would be 8 out of 10, and then the second one would be 3 out of 10.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, so you had more central numbers. Mine are a little bit more out on either end from yours. I was going to give the original a 9 out of 10, and the American one a 2 out of 10.
I mean, you're just off by a number.
no,
for me.
exactly. Yeah,
I'm
but
gonna-
it's on either end. You're closer to the middle.
I'm gonna let you guys know something now.
Yes.
Your review scores are going to fall apart.
¿Por qué?
You said 2 out of 10. You said 3 out of 10
For which one?
For the
for
American.
the Americanized one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if I said that compared to others, this is a crowning masterpiece? So there you go. That's the that's Gojira, Godzilla King of the Monsters, and Kozilla.
We did not watch Godzilla. Just so
No,
you know.
Yeah, we did not.
but we should.
Oh,
We should.
God, I will quit my legit day job.
No, unfortunately, we have quite a lot of other films to watch.
And we're like an hour and a half into this podcast, aren't we? Yeah, look at that. All right, so
yeah, so we're
should
gonna
probably
start
wrap it up.
wrapping up.
Yeah.
Thank you for anyone, probably no one, who stuck through this.
No, we have some fans.
If you did stick through this, just
Stick,
know that
stick with it again tomorrow.
we appreciate it.
Yes.
We appreciate it greatly. I'm Sean.
I'm Kay.
And I'm your host. And this is our legit day job.